3 people, including a 6-month-old baby, were wounded in a drive-by shooting in Jefferson Park this afternoon. This happened around 4:30 in the area of Arlington Avenue and 24th Street.
Yes, and it's really neighbors helping neighbors, and so much crime happening at the homeless encampment just down the road here in Playa del Rey.
What if a movie inspired real-life crimes that shook the world? From December 2017, when Jonathan Cruz committed 3 murders after watching The Purge, to the shocking 2002 DC sniper attacks by Lee Boyd Malvo and John Allen Muhammad, real criminals have drawn inspiration from films and TV. These crimes prove that movies can influence the darkest actions. Let's dive into the most disturbing real-life crimes that were inspired by the world of cinema. Setting an apartment on fire, backdraft. On April 15, 1991, 18-year-old Glenn Jones from Lake George, New York decided to recreate a scene from the movie Backdraft, a film about heroic firefighters. Jones was watching the movie with his girlfriend when an idea struck him. He wanted to be a hero. But instead of fighting a fire, he would cause one. Jones decided to set his girlfriend's apartment on fire, planning to put it out and save the day. He set a chair on fire, but the flames were quickly extinguished by the girlfriend's family before Jones could act. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the ordeal. His plan, however, backfired horribly. Jones was charged with second-degree arson and faced up to 10 years in prison for his reckless actions. The movie Backdraft had inspired him to seek attention through a dangerous crime, but instead, it led to his arrest. He later expressed regret for his actions, realizing how wrong his idea had been. Purging the Purge. In 2017, Jonathan Cruz from Indianapolis committed a shocking crime that he claimed was inspired by the 2013 film The Purge. In the movie, for one night each year, all crime becomes legal, leading to chaos and violence. Cruz, who had watched the film, decided to live out his own version of The Purge. He referenced the movie in a text message, writing, "I purge every night now." Cruz went on to commit 3 fatal shootings. A witness later told detectives that Cruz had openly mentioned the movie when talking about his actions. The idea of committing murder for sport, as shown in The Purge, was horrifying in real life. Unlike the film, crime is never legal, and Cruz was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences for his brutal actions. His belief in the movie's concept didn't excuse his crimes, and he now faces the consequences for taking innocent lives. Bottle deposit fraud, Seinfeld. In 2011, a real-life crime inspired by the Seinfeld episode titled The Bottle Deposit took place. In the episode, Kramer and Newman hatch a plan to redeem out-of-state bottles in Michigan for extra deposit money. Surprisingly, this scheme became a reality when Thomas and Megan Woodward and Peter Privat, living in Maine, decided to try the same fraud. They illegally redeemed out-of-state bottles, earning a profit of $11,000 by taking advantage of the different bottle deposit laws. This was the first time anyone in Maine had been charged with bottle deposit fraud. The crime mirrored the episode's plot, where Kramer and Newman thought they could easily make money by exploiting a loophole. However, this plan didn't work out in the real world. The 3 were caught and faced legal consequences for their actions. What started as a comedic scheme in a TV show ended up having serious real-life repercussions. The DC sniper, The Matrix. In 2002, a real-life crime spree shocked the nation, inspired by the movie The Matrix. Lee Boyd Malvo and John Allen Muhammad carried out a series of sniper attacks, killing 17 people and injuring 10 in the Washington, D.C. area. Malvo, a teenager at the time, was deeply influenced by The Matrix, even using references from the film during his attacks. He reportedly told investigators to free yourself from the Matrix and often spoke about the movie during the investigation. The concept from the Matrix, in which characters question the nature of reality, appeared to have affected Malvo's perception of the world. As a result, he believed his crimes weren't real in the traditional sense, much like the virtual world in the film. Malvo was convicted of 7 killings and sentenced to life in prison. His actions, though seemingly inspired by a fictional movie, caused real-world terror and heartbreak, highlighting the potential dangers of certain media influences. Breaking Bad-inspired crimes. In 2010, the hit TV show Breaking Bad began to influence real-life criminals, as the show's portrayal of a high school chemistry teacher turned methamphetamine dealer struck a nerve. The series became so popular that it inspired a wave of crimes linked to the world of drug dealing. In 2012, Kansas City police reported the discovery of a blue meth strain, which was eerily similar to the one seen in Breaking Bad. The show's blue meth became an infamous symbol of the drug world. One particularly disturbing case involved a 55-year-old man who went by the name Walter White, just like the main character in the show. This man was caught in Alabama, running a meth operation, and even used the alias from the series. Perhaps the most shocking real-life Breaking Bad incident involved a man named Jason Hart, who tried to dispose of his dead girlfriend's body using sulfuric acid, just like in the infamous bathtub scene from the show. His attempt failed, but it was clear that Breaking Bad had inspired his criminal actions. These incidents serve as a chilling reminder of how TV shows can influence people's behavior in the real world. The allure of Breaking Bad's depiction of crime and drugs had real consequences, leading to arrests and shock in the public. Teens sucking blood, Twilight. In the midst of Twilight mania, a strange and worrying trend began to emerge among teenagers. The fascination with vampires, especially the romanticized version portrayed in the Twilight saga, led some teens to imitate the more intense elements of the story. In Des Moines, Iowa, an unnamed middle school student took things too far, biting 11 classmates to draw blood in what he described as a pseudo-intimate act. This act of bloodletting wasn't just harmless play. Experts in blood diseases began to sound alarms about the risks of transmitting infections. The situation escalated when the teenager's father, blaming the Twilight films for his son's behavior, claimed that his son never meant any harm. The authorities, however, took the situation seriously. The young teen was arrested and sent to a juvenile correctional facility, highlighting how a pop culture phenomenon like Twilight could have serious real-life consequences when its fantasy elements are taken too literally. Russian Roulette, The Deer Hunter. The 1978 film The Deer Hunter became infamous for its portrayal of a deadly game of Russian roulette, a brutal and intense scene that would tragically inspire a series of real-life incidents. In the film, soldiers are forced to play Russian roulette by their captors during the Vietnam War, leading to a tense and harrowing moment in cinematic history. Unfortunately, this fictional scene led to a dangerous trend in the late 1970s and early 1980s, where several people across America tragically tried to mimic the game. The National Coalition on TV Violence reported that by 1981, at least 25 people had died in Russian roulette accidents, many of them teens or young adults who believed they were invincible or who wanted to reenact what they had seen in the movie. The film's influence, while not intended to glorify the game, left a dark mark on the public, with the tragic deaths serving as a grim reminder of how powerful cinema can be in shaping behavior. The horror of Russian roulette, as depicted in The Deer Hunter, became a real and deadly risk for many, underscoring the impact films can have on those unable to distinguish fiction from reality. Copycat Killers, Money Train. In 1995, The action comedy Money Train featured a scene in which the character Chris Cooper, playing a serial killer known as The Torch, threatens to burn a subway clerk alive if she doesn't give him money. The film, though meant to be humorous, inspired a real-life crime just a year later. In Brooklyn, New York, a group of teenagers decided to reenact this scene. They lured a subway clerk into a similar trap and set the booth on fire, imitating the violent actions from Money Train. Tragically, the clerk suffered severe burns and died from his injuries 2 weeks later. The 3 teenagers were arrested, and 2 were sentenced to life in prison. Their crime was a brutal reminder of how movies, even those with comedic intentions, can sometimes spark dangerous behavior when individuals attempt to copy what they see on screen. This tragic event serves as a clear example of how films can influence real-world actions in destructive ways. Movies may entertain us, but they can also spark dangerous ideas, from Breaking Bad meth operations to reckless Money Train copycats. It's clear that media can shape actions, whether it's a misguided attempt to be a hero or a desperate need to recreate a fictional thrill. Let me ask you this: should we be more mindful of what we consume? How much responsibility do movies and TV shows have for inspiring such real-world consequences? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found these stories as eye-opening as I did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.